There are no longer cultural centers and peripheries. Major projects choose locations with right infrastructure, a culture of dialogue, and a prepared audience. This explains why Astana is now a standard destination for major international exhibitions. Kazakhstan takes World Heritage seriously. This is not a fashion statement. It comes from a mature urban culture that knows what it values. Built for global summits of religious leaders, the Palace of Peace and Reconciliation now serves a second purpose. It is a space of its own, where masterpieces from the past speak a language everyone understands. Bringing an exhibition of this scale to the capital shows that our institutions meet world-class standards. The young people in these halls are not here for quick fun or selfies against a grand backdrop. They come for meaning. They are ready to ask hard questions and engage with art as a serious form of research. The city has become a mature cultural hub with the expertise and audience to host the highest achievements of world culture. A major exhibition just opened in Astana. 40 interactive machines by Leonardo da Vinci fill a high-tech digital hall.
Говоря о том, что это событие, да, это большое культурное событие. Говоря о другой привлекательности, я тоже могу сказать.
Yes, this is a significant cultural event, but its real strength is that the project brings together culture, education, and academic thought in one space.
Научные мысли.
Culture knows no borders and no language barrier. It speaks to everyone, and through it, people and nations come together. When someone understands not only their own culture but also another's, they grow kinder, more tolerant. There is only peace and goodwill in a heart like that.
Он намного добрее, он намного толерантнее, чем любой другой человек. И, конечно,
To address the second point, Kazakhstan's international standing plays a role too. We are already recognized globally. We have found our place in the international arena, and exhibitions like this help the world know us even better.
он уже занял свою нишу в международной арене, у международного сообщества. А благодаря выставкам такого плана мы узнаваемы еще больше.
It is our habit to sort people into neat boxes so we do not have to think. No one has paid a higher price for that than Leonardo da Vinci. The world knows him as the painter, the creator of two of history's most famous images. Yet, that same reputation has turned the great Florentine into a prisoner of his own smile, forever hanging in the Louvre. But that does not capture the full measure of the man. For Leonardo, painting was only one way to understand the world, and probably not the main one. His real work was in science and engineering. Open his notebooks and you find the page after page of designs that were centuries ahead of their time. The hand that dissected the human body also designed fortifications and mapped how water moves. He was a military engineer, an architect with plans to rebuild the medieval city from the ground up. To see Leonardo clearly, you have to move past the shine of the paintings. For him, art and engineering were the same thing. A line on paper and a lever in a machine obeyed the same laws. That is what a mind can do when it is not bound by fear or convention. Leonardo left us a blueprint for an intellect with no borders.
В нашем музее представлено около 47.
We have about 47 interactive machines in the museum, and people really get into how they work. A lot of mechanisms Leonardo designed in the 1400s and 1500s still work today. We are still using his ideas.
У него есть спиральный винт. Это ранее
He has the aerial screw, basically an early helicopter. When visitors see it, they are always shocked that someone came up with that back in the 15th century. Leonardo was obsessed with flight with wings. I think because we've always wanted to fly, our visitors always head straight for the air hole first.
За счет того, что люди всегда хотели летать, наши отечественные люди, тоже туристы, обращают внимание именно на зал воздуха.
Beside the aerial screw is the wooden frame of a pyramidal parachute built to bring a person down safely from any height. The design was long dismissed as a fantasy. In 2009, an adventurer built a replica and jumped successfully, confirming Leonardo's math was perfect. Nearby is the self-propelled cart, the ancestor of today's car. A spring and gear mechanism stores energy and drives it forward without help. People stay at these machines for minutes, tracing each gear and lever.
Мне кажется, все одинаково.
I think everyone comes away amazed honestly. There is that saying, a genius is a genius at everything, and that's Leonardo. His machines, his inventions, his paintings, he mastered all of it. It doesn't matter if you're an artist, an engineer, an architect, everyone is blown away by what he did. And remember, this was the 1400s and the 1500s. He was building these machines, developing these drawing techniques in the Middle Ages, and we're still using them today.
Древневековые времена, которые используют сейчас.
If the technical hall speaks to logic, the art section speaks straight to emotion. Here the images that have become icons of world culture come to life. Leonardo never separated painting from exact science. For him, they were one and the same. The key to his graphic and painterly perfection lies with the Roman architect Vitruvius. It was his treatise that inspired the Florentine to create the legendary Vitruvian Man, the canonical image of ideal human proportions. Most architects and artists today know the golden ratio well, but it was Leonardo who took this mathematical law to its absolute, weaving it into the very structure of his paintings. Every tilt of a head, every element of the landscape behind, the distribution of light, all of it follows a precise numerical calculation. That is the secret behind the magnetism of his paintings. They feel alive because they follow the deep laws of nature. Visitors stand in front of the reproductions for a long time trying to solve the mystery of that harmony. Da Vinci proved that true art is not born from chaos or random inspiration. It is the highest form of order, where every stroke is measured to the millimeter.
Мне кажется, в
I
наших
think young people today are genuinely interested in new exhibitions, in new discoveries.
открытиях
And when they come to us, they're hungry to learn about art, about science. They really listen, they ask questions, they're genuinely engaged.
задают вопросы.
People who come to see us, especially young people, they want to discover something new, to uncover sides of Leonardo they haven't seen before, to learn more about art, about architecture, about Leonardo da Vinci's projects.
В проектах Леонардо да Винчи.
Organizing an event on this scale is an invisible front hidden from the delighted audience behind a flawless facade. The museum world runs on strict international protocols that leave no room for mistakes. The exhibits that arrived in the capital, straight from museums in Rome and Florence, demand truly royal treatment. To display them, you need a venue that can guarantee perfect temperature and constant humidity. The Palace of Peace and Reconciliation handled that challenge with ease, confirming its status as a high-tech space. The exhibition itself is a unique blend of medieval thought and modern visual storytelling. Our Italian partners brought to Astana the very essence of the master's work, but the presentation has been completely reimagined. Inventions from centuries past sit side by side with digital technology that translates the language of the Renaissance into a language the new generation understands.
И человек, тот, который уже вошел в искусство, который интересуется искусством, конечно, он начнет уже...
Anyone who is already into art, who really cares about art, they'll dig deeper, they'll find what speaks to them. And again, you'll find all of that in Leonardo da Vinci.
Эти вещи можно найти именно в творчестве Леонардо да Винчи. Это его картины, это механизмы, более 40 механизмов, которые...
His paintings, more than 40 mechanisms that we brought in for this exhibition. And we've also added great video materials that walks you through Leonardo da Vinci's life and work.
Видеоматериалом, который гласит, который показывает жизнь, творчество Леонардо да Винчи.
So 15th century inventions are sitting right next to new technology in our halls. What you see in the LED tunnel and the LED cube, our digital hall, is a modern way of presenting what was invented, what was painted back in the 15th century.
Конечно, это современная подача, то, что было изобретено, написано еще в 15 веке.
The core of the exhibition's audience is thoughtful young people from the capital. The halls feel like a university lecture room, where every exhibit sparks a serious discussion. This new generation is genuinely hungry for knowledge. They want to look behind the scenes of great discoveries, to understand the engineer's logic, to appreciate the artist's boldness. They listen closely to the guides, ask deep questions, try to find new angles and things that seemed long understood. For them, Leonardo da Vinci is not some distant classic from a school textbook. He is a kindred spirit, a researcher who wasn't afraid to break the stereotypes of his time. That living interest proves that art and science remain the best tools for self-discovery. The exhibition has become a kind of cultural mirror for Astana, reflecting the intellectual energy of its people. The capital's audience is taking up the Renaissance genius's challenge, proving there is no unbridgeable gap between the 15th century blueprints and the sharp mind of a modern viewer.
И мы должны понимать, что быть
Being that versatile is not easy. Usually you pick one field, you go deep, you build your career there.
Конечно, он уже вот идет в свою сферу, он добивается каких-то высот, и он
But
работает.
when you look at Leonardo da Vinci, you see just how multifaceted a person can be. It's possible.
Искусство Леонардо да Винчи, мы видим, каким разноплановым может быть человек. То есть
The human mind is capable of it, to be a creative person and at the same time have that kind of brilliant engineering brain.
обладать
I
такими
think he's simply a great example of that.
способностями. Я думаю, что это, вот просто великий образец.
Research centers around the world are still trying to solve the puzzles Leonardo left in the margins of his manuscripts almost as an afterthought. He had a unique mirror script. He wrote right to left, so for a long time, his journals couldn't be read without a mirror. One theory is that this was his way of protecting his advanced military drawings from the prying eyes of the Inquisition.
There is a legend that he would buy birds at the market and set them free, just to watch how they fly.
Those observations later became his detailed sketches of flying machines. The great Italian also followed a unique sleep schedule, what we now call polyphasic sleep. He slept for 15 minutes every 4 hours, which let him work almost around the clock while keeping his mind incredibly sharp. And he was a committed vegetarian at a time when meat was the centerpiece of every table, arguing that the human body should not be a graveyard for animals. Every detail of his life proves that his genius was not some random gift. It was a conscious, daily, relentless assault on the laws of nature, one that made his contemporaries whisper about his ties with other worldly forces. So, what do we take with us when the journey through time ends? Leonardo gave us more than drawings of machines or perfect paintings. His greatest legacy is how he thought. He proved there is no ceiling to what humans can do. He showed us a mind with no borders, where art and science do not clash. They make each other stronger. Look at his work here in Astana and you see it. True genius lives ahead of its time, mapping routes for the future. Astana turns this page in its cultural story tonight. Tomorrow, the doors open again, because our dialogue with eternity is never finished.